This video is brought to you by Soundcore. So Soundcore recently dropped the Motion 300 speaker a few weeks ago, and I finally got my hands on it. This small speaker is packing some serious performance, making it a top performer for portable speakers under $100. Now, we have a lot to talk about here, so let's jump straight into it. So first, let's get this box out of the way since I've already got the speaker out of here. All right, so here you have the speaker. So the design and build quality, let's start there. Now, I do have it powered on, as you can see already, but this thing is surprisingly good. Now, overall, it's got this soft touch feel, almost like a silicone skin coating all over the speaker. Kind of interesting, but that's sort of how it's built and made. Now, it's got this mesh grille. It feels kind of plasticky to me. I'm not exactly sure what's going on or what material that is, but that's just kind of how it feels to me. Even though it has a metal color look to it, I think that's just paint. Now, also speaking of paint, as you'll see here, we do have this like ink splatter paint job all over the speaker. Kind of cool, but yeah, a little bit different, but pretty interesting if you ask me. Now, on the back, you're also going to notice that we have a vent for the passive radiator, along with rubber feet on the back and along the bottom here, because this speaker, you can have it either standing up like this, or you can have it laying down flat. Those are two of the different options. In addition to that, you also have the detachable strap right here that allows you to hang this speaker from like a tree, a backpack, or whatever you want. Or if you don't want to have it on there, it unbuckles and you can completely remove it from the speaker. Now, the Motion 300 has good weight to it without being overly heavy. The speaker feels substantial in your hands while still being easy to carry. So as you can see here, I can still easily palm this speaker just like that. So no problems with that whatsoever. Now, the Motion 300 is designed to withstand the elements. It carries an IPX7 water resistance rating, letting you enjoy your music wherever you might find yourself. Pool party, river rafting, etc. No worries. But one thing you do want to keep in mind is that this thing does not float as far as I can tell. So when I did dunk it in water, it sank to the bottom. So just keep that in mind. So now let's move over to the controls on the Soundcore Motion 300. So as you can see right here, we've got the 6 buttons right along the top. So you've got the power button here, you've got your Bluetooth, you've got your bass up, you have your volume down, you have your multi-function button here, which is play pause, but it also doubles as a skip or previous track button with a double and triple press, and then you have your volume up. All the buttons are responsive and they have a light tactile click, so you know when you've activated a command. Now the power button here, as you can kind of see it there, maybe you can see it a little bit on camera, but the power button is also recessed, which I thought was kind of curious when I first felt it. But then I found out that they did this to make the power button easy to find in low lighting conditions, such as like if you're camping and you don't have a light on or it's getting dark out, makes it easy to find that power button to turn it on or to turn it off. So now let's talk about the connectivity. So the Motion 300 can be easily paired with both Android and iOS devices in my experience. Pairing is quick and easy as is expected from Soundcore speakers. Now it does have Bluetooth 5.3 along with SBC, AAC, and LDAC as the connection codecs. It does also feature multi-point connectivity for up to 2 devices, which kind of surprised me because I didn't see anything about that in any of the spec sheets, but sure enough, it totally works in my own testing. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth range, I got about 46 feet or about 14 meters using the AAC codec. Now, if you're using the LDAC codec, that will be reduced substantially, so that's something that you're going to want to keep in mind. So now let's talk about latency. When we're talking about watching videos here, like on YouTube, Netflix, anything like that, the lag between the sound that you hear and people's lips moving is minimal to nearly imperceptible. So that's something that I want you to keep in mind. But when it comes to gaming, lag is a bit more noticeable with shooting games like COD Mobile. Sadly, there is no low latency gaming mode here. It would be a nice to have, but it is not here. Now, lastly, the Motion 300 also supports TWS pairing, meaning you can pair 2 of these speakers together. Sadly, I didn't get a second sample to test this with, so I can't say how well this actually works. But thankfully, my homie Antoine from the channel New Stuff TV, he made a video about this feature, so make sure you head over to his channel and check that out if you're interested in that particular feature. Now, what is a portable speaker without battery life? And Soundcore is claiming up to 13 hours on a full charge, but obviously that's going to vary based on the volume level, codec choice, as well as your EQ settings. Now, I managed to get a little bit over 8 hours using the LDAC codec, so please keep that in mind. Listening to the speaker in high res with LDAC at higher volume levels is going to severely affect your overall playback time, so definitely keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to charging the Motion 300, you've got a little flap right here. You go ahead and pull that open, and right here you'll find a USB-C port. And then they do include a charging cable in the box, so they've got you covered. And this does charge at 15 watts, so that's actually a little bit better than most of the other speakers on the market. Now, from zero, it will still take about 4 hours to get you a full charge with the Motion 300, but overall, very, very good. So now let's get into the app support for the Motion 300. Now, the Soundcore app is available for both iOS and Android devices. So I went ahead and paired the Motion 300 here with my Google Pixel Fold. So as you can see here, this is what it'll look like right when you open it up. You'll see the speaker itself, you'll see Motion 300, and I do have the LDAC codec activated. So you'll have a gear right up here. We'll get into that in just a sec. That's your settings. Right here is a power button if you want to go ahead and long press that to turn the speaker off. You do have a play pause control if you want to play music and pause, so you'll see that. Boom. So you can play and pause. You have a volume control right here, and then you have your sound settings. So you go into here. This is where you have the adaptive detection. So this is the Smart Tune technology that'll basically change the way that the speaker sounds based on its orientation. So I've got the speaker right here. As you can see, it's standing. So let's move over into lying down, and you'll see that it'll automatically adjust itself to lying. And then if I go ahead and hold it up like this, like I'm hanging it off of something, it'll automatically detect itself and it'll switch over to hanging. So pretty interesting, but that's how that works right there. So moving on from there, you've got your preset sounds. So if you click on that, you've got your Soundcore signature, you've got extra bass, you've got voice, and you've got balanced. Soundcore signature for me is the better of these altogether, if you ask me. Now, backing out of there, you do have custom. So if you go into custom, you can have different EQs set up based on the position that, or the orientation that you have the speaker in. So if you go into custom, this is where you get the full band EQ option. So if you click on here, you can get the full band. Basically, you can go in there and you can actually make all the full adjustments in Soundcore's Pro EQ setup if that's what you want to do. Totally up to you. You can save these presets for yourself and you can basically set them up by orientation. Totally up to you. But for me personally, I actually just prefer to leave it on the Soundcore signature preset when it comes to the Motion 300. So you've got that all there. So let's back out of here. And we go up to the gear right up top for your settings. So in here, you've got your sound mode. Now, you're going to have the preferred audio quality LDAC. That's not only going to appear on Android devices. Unfortunately, iOS and iPhones don't support LDAC or high-res audio. So it just, that's just not available there for you. Just throwing that out there. But that's where you'll find that. Now here you have your voice prompt. You can turn that off. You have your clipboard permissions. You have the button brightness, so you can adjust the actual brightness on the buttons themselves on the speaker. You have your auto power off settings. You also have the ability to do firmware updates. You can disconnect, and you have the option for a user manual. So all of that right there. Now, just to be clear, you don't have to download the app in order to use the Motion 300. You could totally use the speaker right out of the box by pairing it to your phone, and you'll be good to go, to be completely honest. The app simply allows you to take full control over the sound quality if you want, but it's absolutely not required. So now let's move over to the sound quality. Now, the Soundcore Motion 300 is bringing surprisingly bold sound to the table here. It's packing 30 watts of total power split between its dual drivers and passive radiators to deliver music to your ears. And it gets pretty loud, but still remains distortion free, with the bass cut coming in right around 70% volume. Now, if you're not sure what I mean by bass cut coming in around 70%, basically that means that as the volume goes up for mids and treble, the bass will remain the same at about 70%. So this keeps it from distorting as you get to these higher volume levels. So this is actually very normal. This is a normal practice that you can see a lot in portable Bluetooth speakers. So that's something to keep in mind. And it's actually pretty good when compared to other speakers like the JBL Flip 5 that I have in my collection, where the bass cut is more aggressive and it actually comes on around 40 or 50%. So something to keep in mind, but it actually did a better job than JBL at maintaining bass at a higher volume level. Now, when it comes to volume, the Motion 300 actually measured it at 117.8 decibels, with the decibel meter about 6 inches from the grill of the speaker here. Now, for testing, I had it paired to my Android device using the LDAC codec, listening to Thunderstruck by AC/DC. I did the same test with the JBL Flip 5, and I managed to get 117.6 decibels, same song, SBC codec, so we're talking 0.2 decibels here. That is a very, very minimal difference. Basically, both of them are loud AF. Like, this whole room, I had to have, protective earmuffs on because it was way too loud for me in here. I want to protect my hearing. So, but yeah, both of them overall quite loud. Imperceptible difference between the two of them as far as volume level is concerned. Now, with that said, even at half volume, it's more than enough volume to be heard throughout my entire house, and the sound carries very well outdoors. The Motion 300 is also Hi-Res Audio Wireless certified. As far as I'm aware, it's the only compact outdoor speaker that carries this certification. Now, this makes it possible to have high-res sound anywhere at any time. Now, for best results, I went ahead and paired the Motion 300 to my Pixel Fold using the LDAC codec. I also went into developer settings and I switched it away from adaptive bitrate over to 990/909 for optimized audio quality. Now, doing this, here's a caveat, doing this will cause connection issues if you move the speaker away from the device that it's connected to, so I don't recommend doing this unless you plan on leaving your phone within a foot or two maybe of the speaker at all times. Also, let's not confuse high-res audio with lossless audio. While having high-res audio on the go is great, we would need a wired connection as well as good source music to have truly lossless audio here. We are getting closer in 2023 with aptX lossless slowly coming into the market with 1644 CD quality audio, but sadly Soundcore didn't include this with the Motion 300. However, I'm confident that in the next few years we will slowly see high-res lossless audio becoming a reality for wireless speakers, headphones, and earbuds, and hopefully Soundcore will be on board with that technology as well. But I digress. As I mentioned before, Soundcore App does give us 4 EQ presets, the best of which being the Soundcore signature in my personal opinion. And as I said before, you can use the Soundcore Pro EQ to make changes if you wish, but that's entirely up to you. Now for my testing, I simply left it in the signature mode. And I did try the others, but I wasn't really feeling them, including the extra bass EQ. Kind of surprising, to be honest. Now, sadly, the extra bass seems to give you more bass at the expense of clarity, so it's really not for me. But give it a shot. You might actually like the way that it sounds. Now, the Motion 300 also features Smart Tune technology, which I mentioned before, that changes the sound based on the orientation of the speaker. Interestingly enough, the sound does change noticeably when placed into 3 different orientations. While laying flat, the treble gets brighter, but the sound loses a bit of its warmth. While hanging, it sounds like one of these drivers is shut off, but it still sounds pretty much overall okay. Now, I personally prefer the way the speaker sounds while it's just standing up like a normal speaker. It sounds much more balanced, and the bass sounds better to my ears. But that is simply my own personal preference. I'm not saying that it's better or worse than the other orientations. You're going to have to decide that for yourself. So now let's go ahead and jump into some quick audio samples, both indoors and outdoors. And I'll also include some comparisons with the JBL Flip 5. Now, I am aware that the Flip 5 is a mono speaker. Unfortunately, it's the only other non-Soundcore speaker in my collection that's at this low price point. So I'm kind of stuck here. Now, this would be a good time for you to put some headphones or earbuds on so you can get a better idea of what the sound quality is like. So here are my thoughts on the sound quality of the Motion 300. Personally, I'm truly enjoying the sound quality here. It has a bright, warm sound right out of the box. Very pleasant to listen to with a wide variety of genres. I listen to everything from Earth, Wind and Fire to Teddy Swims to Fleetwood Mac to A$AP Ferg, Rage Against the Machine, Sublime, Wu-Tang, you name it. I probably tested it here. I love having a wide variety of music to test with. That is just my jam. Now, one of the things that caught me by surprise with the Motion 300 was the stereo separation and the soundstage, especially when I was listening to some 2496 FLAC files, either the ones that I stored locally or the ones that I have on Qobuz. Very, very impressive with live recordings. Carlos Santana, Fleetwood Mac, very, very good. Michael Bublé as well. Amy Winehouse, really, really, really good stuff. I was so impressed with the Motion 300 that I actually let my older brother Audio One give it a listen, and he happens to be a career DJ and music producer, and he liked the sound so much he laid claim to this speaker as soon as I'm done with this review. He basically was like, yeah, dude, as soon as you're done recording, that speaker's mine. So he's already called dibs. So don't try to call dibs. He's already got it. So now let's get into some constructive criticism or constructive feedback, whatever you want to call it. Now, I wouldn't bother having the bass up mode on a speaker of this size. It actually only hurts the sound quality by adding bass while sacrificing the mids and the treble. Honestly, it's not worth it in my personal opinion. Secondly, the lack of a 3.5mm aux input. This feels like an easy addition to add further connection flexibility to this speaker, which would only add even more value as a total package here, especially for people who use devices that don't have a Bluetooth connection. So this is something that I definitely wanted to bring up here. And thirdly, a low latency gaming mode for improved viewing and gaming experiences. Now, I don't personally game while using portable speakers, but I've had people in my comment section say that they indeed do use speakers this way, which really caught me by surprise. So if we can cover all our bases, why not, right? This one feels like it's doable if the chipset that's built into the Motion 300 happens to support a low latency gaming mode. Whether it does or doesn't, I don't know. I don't know that. But if it does and Soundcore is listening, maybe a firmware update? I'm just saying, sounds like an easy win. So now, because I'm feeling generous, let's go ahead and jump into some quick mic samples so you can see what your voice would sound like if you decide to take calls with this speaker. All right, so here we have the microphone quality sample for the Soundcore Motion 300 speaker. So testing, 1, 2, 3. So I'm inside my office right now. Obviously you can't see me, but just doing a quick mic sample to see what kind of voice quality we can get out of a portable Bluetooth speaker. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's see how this comes out. Now, if you're interested in checking out the Soundcore Motion 300 for yourself, make sure you check out the links that are going to be in the video description. I'll be leaving an affiliate link for you if you want to go ahead and use that. That does help support the channel at no additional cost to you. For full disclosure, this video was sponsored by Soundcore, as I said at the beginning of this video. Despite this, Soundcore received no rights for script approval and were not allowed to see this video prior to it being published. They are watching this video at the same time that you are. As such, I'm still free to tell you how I truly feel about the speaker, whether good or bad. This is why I include both the pros and the cons of all the products that I review. Now, I'm telling you all of this because I believe in transparency and honesty with you as the viewer. As always, please be sure to watch multiple videos before making your final purchase decision. Now, if you're interested in watching a video about my favorite Soundcore earbuds, check out the video that I'll leave for you right up here on the screen. With that said, my name is Jefe, and I'm out.